I am Curran Bhatia speaking with Tito Ortiz. He's, of course, taking on Anderson Silva on September 11th, the undercard of Oscar De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort. My man, Tito, how are you doing?
Doing really good, man. Just my last little hard week. Next week is a complete week of cutting weight. Excited, very excited for the fight.
And we know that you've been fighting professionally since 1997, but a lot of it, of course, was in mixed martial arts. This is your first professional boxing match. So why did you decide to go into boxing?
Well, I've been competing in mixed martial arts for such a long time, and I've always been a huge fan of boxing. And I've watched Triller just expand and explode the market of boxing now for the last 4 years, 2.5 years. It's really put boxing where it needed to be. Make it exciting, make it entertaining. And why not? Against Anderson Silva, one of the best mixed martial artists ever, who's boxed against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and beats him. It's a fight that I've always wanted. I love boxing. I've been boxing over the last, 20 years, but seriously over the last, 7, 8 years. But let's give me a shot. Give me a chance. Give me a try. I got a puncher's chance. Let's have some fun doing it and entertain the fans that love to watch me fight.
Absolutely. And how did this fight even come together? We know that you have the relationship with Oscar, who's headlining the card, and he put together Golden Boy MMA, which featured you. How did this matchup with Silva even come together?
Well, actually, Triller reached out to me. I don't think Oscar had anything to do with it. It was just one of those things that they want to get another legend to fight a legend. And this is not a legend fighting YouTuber. This is a fighter fighting a fighter. And Anderson is a boxer, of course, but I got some boxing skills and I got a little bit up my sleeve, and we're going to show it on September 11th. But they came to me and, they respect the value, they respect my skills, and I'm going to go in and put on a show.
And you mentioned your opponent, Anderson Silva's last fight was in the boxing ring against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It was probably surprising because even though Chavez Jr. has had his issues, he has been boxing for a long time. He is a professional boxer sticking to that discipline. And Silva, of course, the older man, was able to get the victory. Did you watch that fight, and what were your thoughts?
I watched the fight about 30 times now. I look for just points of contact, reactions, how the first round started, how the last round ended, the combinations, this footwork, the feints. So a lot of homework had to be done with that fight because I got to do the same thing on September 11th. But you got to understand, nothing against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but he's truly a 165-pound fighter. He's not a 180-pound fighter. He's not even a cruiserweight. He's a smaller guy who really didn't want to put in the work to cut the weight to be the champion that he was when he did get down to 165 or 154 or whatever he fought at when he fought Canelo. But can't take nothing away from Anderson Silva because he put on a great show. He showed that he was fast. He showed that he could throw more than one punch, and his footwork was amazing. But at the same time, I don't think Julio really punches as hard as I'm going to punch Anderson. So I think there's going to be a big difference there. My size difference, I'm the same height as Anderson at 6'2". I'll be coming in about, 195. That's the weight that I'm supposed to be making. But we'll see how low I can get my weight down. Right now, I walk around about 215. So I got a little bit of weight to cut, but that's been normal through my whole career. I've always had about 20 pounds to cut through my career. It's just, I've always cut weight. That's just a part of my life. It's been a part of my life since sophomore in high school, through my college career as wrestling, all the way through my mixed martial art career of 24 years. I've always cut anywhere from 25 to 20 pounds to make weight. And that's just to get my weight or my body down to perfect shape, perfect fight shape. And that's where I'm at. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So when I look at those fights over and over and over and over again, I just look for little details, little mistakes, little small things that I can hopefully capitalize on in the fight. And once again, Anderson's a great boxer. But once again, I don't think he's ever fought anybody like me.
And you mentioned the weight, and I wanted to ask you about that. For a long time, you campaigned at 205 pounds. I believe you had a fight recently at 210 pounds as a catch weight. You are going to have to get down to 195 pounds catch weight for this fight versus Silva. We know you're 46 years old, and obviously it's harder to cut weight as you do get older. Are any concerns about getting down to 195?
Harder to cut weight as I'm older. Who told you that? Do you cut weight?
I don't. I'm just what I've heard.
This is what the people speculate on, is when you get older, it's harder to cut weight. As the people get older, they get lazier. If you get lazier, yes, it's going to be harder to cut weight. I'm not lazy. I refuse to be lazy. I eat clean. I train hard. I put in 4-mile runs 7 days a week. I watch my diet. I eat super, super clean. It's torture. It's discipline. It is dedication. It is the determination of your mind of what you're able to put your body through. And people use the excuse of saying you're older and that's your excuse. That's a bad excuse. That's a horrible excuse. That shows that you're lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm a person who's a workhorse. I've always been a workhorse. It's the mentality they have in your mind. How old you think you are is what you are. I've had major surgeries through my life, and I shouldn't be where I am right now, but I'm still doing it because I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities as an athlete to come in and compete against another man at my highest level. I'm not looking for any excuse saying, well, I'm old, so I can't do it. Bullshit. I refuse to do that. Refuse that thought. Refuse that mentality, because I will not be a victim of society of saying you're old and you can't do it. Bullshit. I'm going to do it until I say, you know what? Look in the mirror, Tito, it's time. And right now, that time is far away from me. I feel young. I feel invigorated. My body feels great. I feel strong. I feel fast. And it's exciting. Cutting the weight will be easy. Actually, I got to have a great meal last night. I got down to 215. I thought it was going to be a little longer than getting down to 215. And you can understand, I started at 240 a month and 5 days ago. And I was 215 yesterday. So I actually got to have a good, really, really good dinner. Woke up this morning, I was about 216 and a half. And I'm still light. That still feels like I'm really light. But the weight's coming off great because I'm doing the road work. I'm doing the extra work. I'm doing the weight cut, or the eating, the dieting. I'm really just sticking down to what I need to do to win this fight, and that's what's important to me.
And speaking of the age, you're 46. So is Anderson Silva. You're both 6'2". He's fought professionally in boxing 3 times. Now, it's been scattered. There was one fight in 98, one in 2005, and then more recently against Chavez Jr. This is your pro debut in terms of boxing. How do you think stylistically this fight versus Silva will play out? And do you think the fact that he's had professional boxing experience will help him in this fight?
I think the experience that he'll have in boxing will help him a little bit until I punch him in his face. I got to touch him. That's it. I got to touch him with numbers, and I got to push the force. I got to push forward and make sure I'm bobbing and weaving and getting out of the way, and just working on my timing that I've been working on now for the last month. And over the last 10 years, I've been sparring boxing for a long time. I mean, I spar with professional boxers also. That's just a part of MMA. You got to box. You got to spar. And that's one of the biggest things for this camp in general. I've been sparring now 3 times a week. I mean, you can tell as the little black eye, I mean, we're scrapping in the gym 3 times a week. We put on the gloves and we box 8 rounds 3 times a week. This is the first camp that I've had almost in my whole career that I've sparred so much. But I think it's just being willing to take the timing, the distance, and working on my distance. So working on my distance of punching, but at the same time working the head movement, angles, and firing to the body, firing to the head, and firing in numbers. And that's something that I've never been able to use just because of mixed martial arts, where you're looking for knees, you're looking for kicks, you're looking for elbows. This is just 2 hands. So you really can get out of the way of both at the same time and fire off the line. This is something that really gets me thinking when I'm sparring for in the fight in general. I could use these expertise to hopefully finish the fight. And I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited. I'm going to be back in the ring. And for my first time as being a boxer, something that I've always looked up to as a kid. I mean, watching Muhammad Ali, watching Hagler, watching Hearns, watching Sugar Ray Leonard, watching Mike Tyson, watching Oscar De La Hoya, watching Fernando Vargas. I mean, Tito Trinidad to Canelo to all these guys growing up as a kid. Now I'm competing at the same level they are. And it's exciting. It's just a dream come true, man. I'm living this American dream, and it's exciting. And I'm very thankful for Triller for giving this opportunity.
You're certainly taking it seriously. It sounds like training is going really well. In terms of your relationship with Anderson Silva, do you have a relationship on a personal level? What is your relationship like with Anderson Silva? What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I had a lot of respect for the guy, a lot of respect. I I met him on a few occasions. It was just more of, how you doing, sir? Pleasure to meet you. How you doing? Good to see you, Anderson. How you doing? Good to see you, Anderson. And really no more than that. When this fight was negotiated, I thought that, 205 has always been my weight that I've cut down to. So let's make it, 200. His last fight, he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at 180. He usually fights at 185. Julio Cesar Chavez usually fights at 165. So let's make that 5-pound difference. But he had to force and make it 195, which shows that he's afraid of my power, which shows that he wants to get me light. I've never been down to 195 since I've been, sophomore in college when I wrestled. I used to wrestle 190s. I mean, that was the last time I've been that low, but it took a lot of hard work to get down to that weight. So once again, it's a blessing in disguise for me, I think. To give me that light, that means I have to be in super good shape, and I'm going to have to get down to that weight. So I lost a little respect when he made me do that, because if I don't make the weight, and if I come in at 197, that's 10% of my purse. If I come in at 199, that's 20% of my purse. Now, if I come in at 200, that's 30% of my purse. And that's a lot of fucking money. Excuse my language, but that is a lot of money. Taking food out of my children's mouth. And I would never do that to him. But that's the way he stands. And it just makes me that much more hungry. It makes me that much more focused on my weight. It makes me that much more focused on what I need to do the night of the fight and finish him.
We've seen fighters in the past, I believe Floyd Mayweather versus Marquez, he came in a couple pounds heavy, paid the fee, but that was kind of part of his strategy. There's been other fighters, Daniel Jacobs against Triple G, he forfeited one of his belts so he didn't have to make a same-day weigh-in. And again, that seemed to be strategic. It sounds like what you're saying is that's not your intention at all. Your plan is to get below 195 and not pay any penalty.
Exactly. I mean, that's my goal. I mean, once again, you got to understand, we're coming off a pandemic where this is really affecting me and my family. I mean, I'm not a multi-millionaire like any of the big boxing fighters. I've worked hard to have what I have, to live comfortably. I have 3 boys that I take care of, and I haven't worked in 18 months. This isn't strictly about the money, but at the same day, I don't want money taken off the table of my children or out of their mouths, and that's what it's coming down to. So I'm going to have to sacrifice a little bit, and I get it. I understand it. But this will be the beginning of it. This will be the first of many fights, I hope. I plan on fighting at least 2 or 3 more years. I plan on it, at least 2 more years. I'm only 46, so I feel young. I feel invigorated. My body feels great. My mind feels right. My timing's great. And I'm learning more and more each and every week that we are sparring, that we are hitting mitts. Just the fundamentals of boxing. People don't understand how sweet science it truly is. And it is. It takes a lot to generate power. It takes a lot to throw combinations. And it takes a lot of head games to really bait people into the right ways of punching, to the right ways you want to throw a combination off their jab or off their straight left hand, and things that I've been focused on for this camp in general. I'm excited, and I'm good because it's giving me a challenge in life. This is a challenge to me. I love challenges. I love when my back's pressed against the wall because I fight the best at those opportunities, and this opportunity will happen on September 11th. You're
certainly challenging yourself. So on the record, September 11th versus Anderson Silva, your official prediction would be what?
My official prediction would be an exciting fight and Anderson falling in front of me. That'll happen.
You mentioned that you want to continue fighting after this fight, not to look ahead of Anderson Silva, but in your last 3 MMA fights, you were 3-0. After this fight, would you continue boxing or would you want to go back to MMA? What are you thinking?
Whatever the best fights in front of me, one of the biggest fights. I want to make it entertaining. I really just watched other boxers compete against guys who weren't super great, but it was an exciting fight. It's time for entertainment now. I think people have been sitting in their homes long enough, and I think they want to have entertaining fights in front of them, and I'll be willing to do that. Whatever Triller has an idea for my future, I would like to continue to talk with them because so far they've been an amazing company to work with, and at the same time, there's some big names out there to fight. People talk about Paul Logan. I mean, I get on my feed at Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999 nonstop. People saying, you should be fighting Paul Logan. You should be fighting Paul Logan. I'm like, really? I mean, I am 0-0. I mean, he is, 2-1, I think, or 2-0. That makes
Jake Paul now 4-0. Logan Paul, I believe 1-1. The loss to he had the loss to KSI, so 0-1. And then the Mayweather fight was an exhibition.
Yeah. So I mean, like I say, once again, this is an entertainment value. Let's have some fun. Let's just entertain the fans. I think that's what it's about. Once again, I'm not a pro boxer. I'm gonna be. It's so funny just to say that because I know so many pro boxers that are really badasses, man, that are really, really tough. But I always have an opportunity. I'm a fighter. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a fighter. At the heart and the soul of myself, I'm a fighter, and I'll always be a fighter. So we'll see what happens in the future. I'm not looking past Anderson Silva, not at all. I'm not even thinking about opponent after. All I'm thinking about right now is compete against Anderson and get the best and show the best. And on September 11th, I'll do that.
And there's been a lot of crossover recently between fighters from MMA going to boxing. Of course, Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather. More recently, Tyron Woodley fought Jake Paul. Did you watch those fights and see those guys that were from the MMA background? Did you learn anything from their performance? And did you take anything from that?
Yeah, of course. And I go to Floyd Mayweather and Conor. I think the one thing that I learned on that is Conor threw a lot of punches. He actually did really well for the first 4 rounds. I won a lot of money on that fight. I'm very thankful. For Floyd, finish it before the 10.5 rounds. I got the under on that one. I was very happy. But I think Conor really showed that he's a boxer, and that was exciting to see. Once again, he got paid really good money for it. Financially, you don't have to worry about things for a long time. And good for him. Not complete kudos to him. Don't want to take anything away from him. But I watched the fight, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, if he'd have threw more punches, he would have won the fight. The only reason he lost the fight was because he didn't throw enough punches. And not even the factor of connecting with punches, but still, he lost the fight by not throwing enough punches. You got to throw by numbers. This isn't MMA where you hit a guy with one punch and it's over. Only guy who used to do things like that was Mike Tyson. Nowadays, it's throw by numbers. Throw by numbers and you win the fight. And that's what it's about. This is boxing. And I understand it and I get it. And I'll do the same thing.
And headlining this card is Oscar De La Hoya. You were working with Oscar when you fought in Golden Boy MMA. What are your thoughts on Oscar coming back? He hasn't fought professionally since 2008 against Manny Pacquiao. What are your thoughts on Oscar coming back, and what do you think about his chances versus Vitor Belfort?
Well, I think it's amazing. Once again, it's the capacity that you're able to push yourself to a challenge. Oscar's doing this for himself. Plain simple said it. I'm doing this for myself because I want to do it. That's when it's a dangerous guy. That's when a guy does it because he's going to get up, he's going to do his running, he's going to do his dieting, he's going to do his sparring, he's going to do his mitt work, do his bag work because he wants to. Not because his dad's telling him or his manager's telling him or the promoter's telling him. That's when you fall in love with the sport. That's what I've done through mixed martial arts, through my long career. That's what I did doing now with boxing. I'm getting up and I'm loving to do it. I'm doing it on my own terms. And that's what makes a guy very dangerous because when a guy's back pressed against the wall and he knows he has to perform, he's going to come out with his A skill. Now with Vitor Belfort, he's a bigger guy. He's fast. He has great boxing skills. He's been boxing longer than me or Anderson. I know he was Golden Glove for Brazil. And he's a really, really good boxer. He can throw punch combinations. He's always thrown punch combinations in the UFC and in Pride and all the other events he's competed in. He's always been a puncher. So I think this will be an exciting fight. This fight is at 180 pounds. And I think he's going to be a little bit a bigger fighter than what Oscar expects. Oscar's a little smaller guy. Speed, he's normally at 154, heavy, 165. But I think the weight's going to be a big difference here. The speed is there. Vitor Belfort has speed. But I've seen Oscar hitting mitts, and damn, he has the same speed as he did when he was at 154. And does he have that extra power to have the punching power behind it? So we'll see. I mean, he's Mexican. Mexican boxers always are the ones who are the punchers. And let's see if he can do the same thing with Vitor Belfort. But he does have his hands full. And I just expect an exciting fight, an entertaining fight for all the fans to watch on pay-per-view.
You fought Belfort back in UFC 51 in 2005. Like you said, you're not looking ahead of Anderson Silva, but just in terms of future opponents, do you think the winner of De La Hoya versus Belfort could potentially maybe be a future opponent for you down the line?
I don't think my next time I'm getting down to 195. They want to come up to 200, 100%. I'm down for anybody at 200 pounds. I was very frustrated with Anderson Silva saying that I had to get down to 195. I've never done it. I'm not even going to say it's a health risk, because it's not really a health risk. It's just a sacrifice that I've never wanted to be willing to take. If you've got to understand, when UFC made the weight class 205 pounds, they made that because of me. I was the UFC champion. It used to be 199.9. And when it was bought by the Fertittas, they asked me, said, Tito, what would be a great weight for you to make? Because we want to put it in another weight class. I said, well, if you guys made it a 205, it'd be perfect. Because, I mean, I walk around 215, 220. I can get down to 205. Not extremely hard, because at the time I was making 189, and it was hard. When I fought Frank Shamrock, when I fought Vanderlei Silva, when I fought Yuki Kondo, when I fought Rashad Evans, who was it? Evans, one of the other fighters. But at the same time, it was just getting down to that weight was a little difficult, because I had to sacrifice. I couldn't lift weights as much as I normally could. And of course, I don't want to get super bulky, but it was just that, long muscle strength that I had to work on, that it was just harder to cut the fat out of the weight, cut the water out of the weight at that time. So they made 205. But for me to get down to 195, it'll be difficult. It's a challenge. I love challenges in life, and I think this will be exciting for me. I just can't wait till it happens.
And I know that you're not hanging it up anytime soon, but when you do look back at your career, I mean, you've achieved so much. You're a Hall of Famer in the UFC, and now challenging yourself with boxing on September 11th. When you look back at everything in your career, anything that you regret, anything that you would have done differently?
Anything I would have done differently? No, I did everything pretty much the way I wanted to, and the mentality I had at the time. I know, maybe putting on the shirt and saying Dana's my bitch, I probably should have done that. That was one of the big ones I probably should have did. No. I regret that. I think, I guess my stubbornness was in the way. Stubbornness and the association of the people that are around me were in my way. And I think that's the only mistake, Then I look back and, I gave it my all. When I was in the UFC, I gave it my all. When I was in Bellator, I gave it my all. When I was Combate America, I give it my all. And once again, when I'm here in Triller, I'm going to give it my all. I always give it my all, man. That way I look back and I have no regrets. And that's what's really important as an athlete. And as a fighter, people don't understand, being a fighter is probably the loneliest sport in the world. Just me and the other opponent. Yes, we got trainers, but at the end of the day, we get inside the ring and we fight against each other. And we got whatever we've done during camp, we're going to do it in the ring. And what I've been doing in camp, I've been learning and progressing every single day, and I'm just getting better and better. So in the ring, I'm going to have my hand raised, and that's the most important thing. And of course, everybody, if you guys want to get the pay-per-view or purchase tickets, you could text Tito to 75303. Once again, that's text Tito to 75303. The pay-per-view, when you purchase it, you get it right from your cell phone. Make it super, super easy. And hopefully I'll see everybody either at the Staples Center or live on pay-per-view.
Absolutely. And just a few more questions for you before I let you go. Outside of the ring or the cage, I know you have other interests. You're an avid poker player. I'm sure we'll see you on the felt sometime soon. You held a position at Huntington Beach City Council. Just in terms of the things you've done outside of fighting, was in terms of politics, was that harder than you would imagine? And is that something that you would do again in the future?
It was completely worse than what I've ever experienced. I got to put my foot in a little bit of the deep state, I guess you can say. It was disgusting. It's all about money, and it's scary because I really just try to help Huntington Beach. I care about Huntington Beach. I'm born and raised here in Huntington Beach, and I try to help. And I was getting sideswiped left and right. A lot of things I was trying to do just to give appreciation to the police of Huntington Beach. I tried to make August HBPD Appreciation Month, and I got denied, saying that it was racist to have a black flag with the blue line through the middle, raised at City Hall or downtown by the pier. Now, for someone to say that and to not give respect and value and appreciation to the officers of Huntington Beach Police Department is disgusting. I just shook my head, and it was just one thing after another. I'm trying to help with the homeless here. I try to get in a group to come in and help us and do it for free, to work with the churches and so forth. Then all of a sudden they sideswiped me, and they made up their own and threw me to the side and said, "You're not part of this." I was getting sideswiped left and right, and then just saying lies about me of I'm committing fraud. Then they put my children on television for not wearing a mask. It was what I seen, what Trump went through. And I mean, maybe not that harsh, but once again, I'm an honest man. I live an honest life. I try to teach my children right from wrong and to have integrity of everything they do. And these guys attacked me nonstop, so I had to walk away. Then I walked away and I got to see how politics truly are. I'm too honest. That's my problem. I'm too honest, and I will always tell the truth. And people will do things to make money. People will do things to get over on others, but they'll give up a little to take a little. I'm not the type of person. I'm always a person to give and to make sure everybody around me is happy and lives a happy life, lives a truthful life, lives an honest life, and don't live in lies and fear and just disgusting stuff that I've been seeing. And right now is the most tragic times, I think, in America. And people don't realize it because they've been so comfortable. People who have been from other countries who's come here now, I see them all the time. And like, Tito, this happened in my country and it's happening now. And like I say, people say athletes should never talk about politics. Well, you can have LeBron James sit there and stand for Black Lives Matter. But you know what? I'm standing for America, and it's important. And I'll fight it on other terms. I'll fight it other way than being on city council, because city council, my hands are tied. But, you know, I'm a American. I'm a citizen of this country that's very proud of this country. And I'll always stand for my flag. I'll respect our troops. I respect our law enforcement, fire department, first responders, the ones who really give back to this country. I'm very thankful for it. And September 11th, the 20-year, I don't want to say even reunion or anniversary, because that was a disgusting day. But this is for all those families that lost those lives during September 11th of 2001. It's a hard time for America at that time, but we've been showed that we've been able to bounce back, and it's time to bounce back again, because right now we're the most separated I've ever seen the country ever in my lifetime. And I wish it never was like that, because we need to treat others, love thy neighbor, right? And I love thy neighbor always. When I do my runs, I always say hi to every one of my neighbors. Some of them don't say hi and some of them do. But once again, the ones that don't say hi, I say, I hope you have a great day. And it's just being honest, being a good man. And that's what life's really about. That's what humanity's truly about. That God gives us this gift to be true, honest, respectable people towards each other. And that's humanity, man. That's how it should be.
And you mentioned September 11th. Just two more questions before I let you go. You are taking on Anderson Silva, as we've been talking about. If you look at the current betting odds, he's currently the favorite. You're currently the underdog. Do you feel disrespected at all that you're the underdog in this fight?
No, not at all. Underdogs, people love to gamble. That's their choice. I'm a gambling man myself. And once again, it's our choice. If you're going to gamble wisely. That's all I say is gamble wisely. I don't look at odds. If anything, in the back of my mind, I think of that as a little fire. I throw a little gas on the fire, and it's getting a little hotter and hotter and hotter, and pushes me more during training. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I really don't. The odds are for the people who love to gamble, and I'll sit back and do my job, get the fight done. I'm not a person to bet on myself. I just want to go out there and do my job and do it the best I possibly can and entertain. That's my number one goal, is to entertain and get my hand raised.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of money on bet all over this card because of all the crossover matchups, and we're not sure exactly what's going to happen in these fights. What would be your final message to your fans and your supporters?
To my fans and my supporters, and even my haters, thank you guys. Thank all of them. For the ones who boost me, for the ones who lift me up when I do have hard times. I'm giving my life and soul to this fight right now. I eat, sleep, and train. That's it. That's all I do. I have an opportunity. I'm a big fisherman to go out fishing a lot. The fish are like wide open right now, big bluefin tuna, and I love fishing. But I sacrifice my time right now. My time sacrifices for this fight. September 11th against Anderson Silva, I will be ready, and I will put on a show. This will be exciting. I want to say thanks to all my fans. I just thank you very much. And once again, please text Tito to 75303 to buy the pay-per-view. That helps me financially. I'm very thankful for my fans, the opportunity to give back to me. I really will be thankful. And once again, I want to be thankful to Triller for giving me this opportunity. Half of thanks to Anderson for taking the fight after the negotiations are just ridiculous. I mean, they gave me a month to get ready, but it's fine. I'm ready. I'll be ready to fight. And September 11th, live on pay-per-view. Watch me destroy Anderson Silva. It's going to be exciting.
Tito Ortiz is taking on Anderson Silva. It's the co-main event of Oscar De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort. It's on Triller, September 11th. Tito Ortiz, thank you so much.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. And for all your listeners, if you guys want to follow me at Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999. Once again, that's Tito Ortiz 1999. And of course on Twitter, Tito Ortiz, Facebook, Tito Ortiz. You can watch up on some of the stuff that for my training that I'll be finishing off here the last week. You know, we got a hard day tomorrow with sparring. We got a hard day today. Mitt work, bag work, just repetition. And then Saturday, mitt work, Sunday, weight cut, rest of the week, weight cut, make 185, then knock out Anderson Silva.